Hello?
Yeah, I was waiting for you to say something because it
Uh,
acted up on me again. All righty.
okay.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to do like, hey, we're here.
Yeah. I was giving the introduction, but I think, it
Uh, you
I
may have
was,
been on mute because I didn't hear it.
yeah,
That's
because,
okay. That's okay. It's Thursday, right?
yeah.
All righty. All righty. All
I
righty.
didn't want you to feel by yourself when you're in a technical difficulties.
That's good.
Yes, the community,
Greetings.
yeah, the community
Um,
activist, Miss Georgia Allen. How you doing today?
I am good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I was just saying I'm having a little bit of a sinus attack this morning. I'm like, oh my
Oh,
gosh. But anyway, that's part of life, right? Life be living, right?
I'm trying to tell you.
And living life, we be lifing. So anyway, with that being said, I am Georgia F. Allen with GA for Justice. And as always, we want to thank Mr. Henderson Vaughn, aka Captain 85, aka the Dream Maker, who has opened up the airwaves to bring our listening audience a conversation for information, a conversation for correction when necessary, as well as a conversation for transformation. And with that being said, I don't think I did a disclaimer last week. So this disclaimer today will cover both last week and this week. As most of you know, I have worked in the area of civil rights and I have been a community activist for decades. So the various positions that I hold, the various positions that I take are mine and mine alone. I do not speak on behalf of any groups or any organizations. And with that being said, today, as always, most of you also know that I strongly support the principles of Kwanzaa. And I had decided that this month we're going to focus on Imani or faith. And Imani in the Kwanzaa principles is to believe with all of our hearts in our people and the righteousness and victory of our struggle. Today's topic is different. It's um, not our typical topic. It is called Straight Up, SBM, BMM, and it is dedicated to straight Black men because Black men matters. And um, and the reason why I kind of chose that topic is because I'm hearing from the community. I'm hearing from my men in the barbershops and wherever, and they feel like they're not being heard or they're not being listened to. So I pulled two scriptures because, of course, this month is our faith month. And my first scripture is from 1 Corinthians 13:11. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. Well, our Black men, while they may have put away childish things, it does not prevent them from being offended when it appears that they're not being treated or respected as many of the other people in the community. And so I thought it would be a good idea for us to let them know and recognize that you are loved and you are respected. The second scripture that I pulled, and you're probably saying, well, why would you pull those scriptures?
Mm,
It's from Nehemiah 4:15-17. And it came to pass when our enemies heard that it was known unto us, and God had brought their counsel to naught, that we returned all of us to the wall, every one unto his work. You got to work. We talked about that last week. And it came to pass from that time forth that the half of my servants wrought in the work, and the other half of them held both the spears, the shields, and the bows, and the habergeons. And the rulers were behind all the house of Judea. They which build on the wall, and they that bear burdens, those that led it, every one with one of his hands wrought in the work, and with the other hand held a weapon. And our Black men feel like they got to work, but they got to hold a weapon at the same time. And so, what I want to share with our Black men, it is not either or, it is both and. And I got this message when I was out at convention, and Reverend Bishop William Murphy III, he spoke about that at the national convention. But I'm going to come with a little bit of different twist than what he came, but I'm going to still talk about both and that with our young men, our older men, our sons, keep in mind that you are in warfare. You are in a war. And if you've been listening to the new gentleman that joined the ticket with Kamala Harris, he said, be joyful warriors. So I want our men to know that we love them and we care about them. And it's okay just as much to be straight as it is for you to be any other community, ethnicity, or anything else in our community. It is not either or, it's both and. It is talk time. This is dedicated to our Black men. They are our sons. They are our fathers, our brothers, our cousins, our friends, and all of our loved ones. They are straight Black men. They are the backbone of our community. We hear you when you say that every group, every ethnicity, every gender seems to have a seat at the table, but the universe appears to have forgotten the straight Black man. Well, I'm not your typical talk show host. So I don't follow any particular guidelines or rule by this group or that group. I am ruled by myself and what I believe comes down from on high to tell me which direction that I need to take. And my spirit has been telling me that there needs to be a voice out there for Black men. So, those of you who are listening now, or those of you who may listen later, please share this far and wide. Tell them to click on and say, click on the button to say that you like it. Click the likes, click the subscribe. Okay, this show is to let you know that you are definitely not forgotten and that you have a voice. We hear you when you say that your concerns are not being addressed. We are listening, and you are important to us. As most of you know, I am everywhere, hearing the concerns of our community, hearing the concerns of different members within the community. And the message that I receive loud and clear is that our Black straight men see several things that have been taking place and they feel the pain and are concerned about their power and their like of progress or the feeling of the like of progress. They are concerned about an attack on their masculinity in many venues. They are concerned because they are some of the most patriotic people in the nation. And many times it appears that their service to this nation is marginalized or is sometimes dismissed. And finally, the values that they have are not being addressed or promoted. So again, straight Black men, you matter. You matter to us. Again, I hear you, and I ain't scared to bring the voice to your concerns and bring a voice to the conversation and bring a voice to our people. Therefore, my message to you is clear. We will not marginalize you. We will not denigrate you. We will not disrespect you. But we will, in fact, elevate you. Do you hear me loud and clear? We will elevate you. There will be no diminishing our Black men here. You are important to us. This has been a little bit of a trying time because there's so much going on. And I always like to remind people voting is important. And we need to remember that when we're voting for not just ourselves alone, but we're voting for our entire country. We're voting for our entire community. We're voting for our Black men. We are voting for the straight ones and the other ones and the short ones and the tall ones. We are voting for all of them. We're not just picking and choosing randomly who will get a voice at the table. We must all have a voice at the table. But we also must recognize that when someone feels that they're not being treated as others, perception is reality. Let me repeat that, because a lot of times people say, well, that's just a perception. Perception is reality. So if our young men, if our sons, if our fathers are feeling disrespected, if they feel that for some reason one group is being acknowledged while another group is being disrespected, if they feel that way, that is their reality. And so, therefore, we must address that reality. We must not dismiss that reality, because perception is reality. And so, we must make it very, very clear to our Black men in the barbershops, to our Black men in the churches, to our deacons and our trustees. We make it clear to them that we understand their concerns. We understand the challenges that they have out there, because some of the other groups have organizations that speak on their behalf. And a lot of times, Black men, even though you have 100 plus Black men, you have 200 plus Black men, you have fraternities and organizations, you have Masonic temples and many, many other groups. It almost sounds like, as a collective, you didn't do what the Black women did when they decided that we're going to support, but we support it in a collective manner. And I think you did a little bit of that a week or so ago, when you decided that you too would then voice as a unit and not as an individual. And so that helps you tremendously, I believe, when you are concerned about whether or not your issues are being addressed. So you're going to have to help us to help you. And I say that because a lot of times, and I hear this, the voices in the barbershops and things of that nature. And I want to say to our seniors and to our elders, it is important that um, you continue in the way of those who came before you. When the elders came into the barbershop, and sounds and messages were being said that were not necessarily the type of messaging that needed to take place, the elders stood up and they spoke. But the nice part about it during that period of time, and I don't know if it happens as much today, but our younger people had a genuine respect for our elders and they listened. So, what I'm hearing from those of you who are in the barbershops and who feel disrespected or who feel marginalized or what have you, what I'm hearing is that you need to rebuild that foundation that somehow has cracks in it. Did you hear me? Did you hear me? I think that what may need to take place is there needs to be a foundation building. Okay. A foundation that will strengthen you as straight Black men, but it will strengthen your sons, it will strengthen your daughters, it will strengthen your wives, your sisters, your brothers, as well as your gay brothers and sisters. Okay. And I say that because we have a tendency to get into our own belief system. that because we don't necessarily believe in certain things, we put a barrier there. And I want to use a sample that I have used again and again. And I use this because it's true. I don't believe in abortions, but that's just me. However, I do not believe that persons who are in the government or in other areas should tell anybody what they should do or not do if it's not harming them directly. Now, if somebody comes and want to aim a gun at me, then I need to tell them something. I need to say to them, oh no. Now you're crossing over into my territory. So therefore, that becomes an issue. But if you are in your house and you are handling your business any way, shape, or form, whether I agree or don't agree, that is your business. And I like the gentleman who's now part of the Kamala Harris ticket, Governor Walz. Governor Walz has a MYODB. Mind your own darn business, okay? Mind your own business. Stop getting involved in other people's business. Because when you start to get involved in other people's business, their lifestyle of this or that or the other, you create an unnecessary problem. Now, what you say in behind closed doors, behind the four walls of your house is your business. But when you come out in the street, you have to respect other people's business like you want them to respect your business. Now, you may not like it, but you do have to do that. Because let me tell you, it has been a challenge for me. As I get older, I see young people coming out and they have different things on, and I'm like, oh gosh. And I feel a little bit sideways, but they are not my children. They are not my grandchildren. So what they do is still their business. Now, if they walk out and they think because they have braids all the way down to their kneecaps that they can grab those braids and slap me in my face, that becomes a different story. Because now they're in my space. So to my black men, to my straight black men, I want to encourage you and caution you at the same time that everybody will not see everything the way that you see them. So some of the time you have to humble yourself. And scripture that I read today, it talks about the wall, but this wall is being built because it was torn down. It wasn't being built to separate or divide. It was being built for a protective measure. And so when that wall was being built, it wasn't either or, it was both and. We're building it for a specific purpose to strengthen us. It wasn't being built to necessarily harm someone. It was being built as a protective measure. And you might say, well, we should build a wall on the we should build a wall on the border, because that's what my belief is when it comes to immigration. And straight men, sometimes y'all do that. You do. You do. Okay. Well, build a wall, but that didn't stop the tunnels. So when you start talking about these things, make them make sense. Do you hear me clearly? We support you. We love you. But we don't want you to divide against one another because things are different now than they were when you were younger. Because they're a whole lot different for me than it was when I was a lot younger. So I hear your cry. I hear what you're concerned about. And again, I want you to know that you are not forgotten and that I'm dedicating the show today to you, but you also have to take some actions as well. You cannot totally rely on the Black woman or totally rely on whether or not you get the person you want in office you also have to step up and stand up on behalf of yourself and on behalf of your community. All right, I'm coming up to the time when it's time to do announcements, acknowledgments, and commemorations. And the month of August is an amazing month. It really is. Um, One of the acknowledgments and commemoration is James Baldwin's birthday, August the 2nd, 1924. And most of you know James Baldwin. He was gay, but he didn't take it in mess. And the fact that I'm talking about straight men at the same time that I'm talking about James Baldwin is not to diminish anybody in any way, shape, or form. It's not to diminish James Baldwin for his lifestyle, nor is it diminish Black straight men and how they feel, because Black men matters to all of us. Also, Toni Morrison, want to acknowledge her. She passed away August 5th, 2019. And most of us know her as a writer, and someone that brought strong novels to us. And so we want to acknowledge her. But also, because we talk about voting all the time, August the 6th, 1965, the Voting Rights Act passed into law. How about that? Just a couple of days ago. Just a couple of days ago, August 6th, 1965. And I want to focus on that for a minute because voting is extremely important. We have a tendency to forget about how important it is to vote, or we become dismissive or of our rights to vote. Well, it doesn't matter. Well, it does. It really does. It matters for a number of reasons. It matters because that's how policy is made. So when you're screaming and yelling about nobody cares about me, or when you're screaming and yelling because you don't think you have a seat at the table, guess what? If you are not voting and you're not voting in blocks and you're not voting as a unit, or you're not voting at all, if I'm an elected official, I am going to listen to the people who voted, whether they voted for me or not. And you say, well, why would you listen to both sides? I listen to both sides because if I'm in office, that side that did not vote for me could capture another group of voter population and vote me out of office. So all persons are important. So therefore, that is why voting is important. So we must celebrate, commemorate, and acknowledge the passing of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. An upcoming event that I like to announce on August the 10th, 2024, Virginia Beach NAACP will have another wealth transfer presentation. I did attend the one on Saturday, August the 3rd. It was excellent. The presenter this week will be Rocky Maynard, and it's going to be between 9:30 on Saturday and 11:30. If you're in Virginia Beach, we encourage you to attend. These sessions have been excellent, from wealth transfer to AI to finding ways of finding monies to help you with your startup businesses. All of these have been very good events. But if you're not attending and the information is available to you, it is not our fault. The only thing that we can do is open up doors of opportunities, but you still have to do the work and walk through those doors. You still have to do the work and gather the information. But then once you get the information, you have to do something with it. And that is for all of us, Black men or not. When the NAACP is doing this work, You have to tell your friends and your relatives and make them aware that this is available. And then once you make them aware of it, listen, we cannot keep bringing you like a horse to a water and trying to make you drink. We can't keep doing that. We're going to have to get people to step up and take the baton and move forward. We're going to have to get people to stand up and step up and work on behalf of their children and not expect one person, one group, one organization to do everything for them. We want to help you get access to the things that you need to help to make you successful. But we cannot do it for you. We can only open up the door and make it available to you, but we cannot do it for you. That is something that you must and have to do yourself. Also, and this is taking place at the Hive, also, Virginia Beach NAACP General Membership Meeting will be on August the 12th, which is next Monday night at 7 p.m., also at the Hive. And, I like to remind us, we do not want to forget our wins, okay? Because a lot of times we feel like, oh gosh, nothing seems to be happening. And that tends to be the mindset in many groups, in organizations, in many silos, that we're not getting wins. Well, we are getting wins. We just don't need to forget them, but we still have to continue to push. And we also do not want to forget our ancestors. So the reason why I started the announcements, acknowledgments, and commemorations is because I want us to make sure that we are reminded that there were people who came before us and they did the work. They did heavy lifting. And we are obligated to do our own research, to look up these people. When I share who they are, I can tell you a lot about them. But today, because of the topic that I have, I'm not going to give you as much detail as I have on different ones that I've talked about in the past, because I feel that this topic is a topic that we need to discuss. And we probably need to have these conversations at our faith based organizations, in our groups, even if we have other people of different lifestyle in those groups. Because until you have that conversation across both lines, they don't know the pain that you're feeling, and you don't know the pain that they're feeling. And you're going to have these hard conversations. It's a necessity. It just is. Again, my first scripture, when I was a child, I spake as a child, I understood as a child, I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. So a childish thing is to say, well, I'm just going to ignore it. Maybe it'll go away. A childish thing would be, I'm not going to have that conversation because we don't think alike, or we're not alike, or they do things that I don't care to do, and I do things that don't fit in their hallway or pathway. That will always be the case. Even when you might be in the same group, guess what? You don't always agree. You don't always agree, but you still have to have conversations. You still have to be open. You still have to be honest, because if you do not do those things and you do not have those conversations, you're going to find that you will have that wall that is built, and it is not going to be a house of Judah. Okay. It will not be. So we're going to have to do both. It is both and we don't have to have this either or conversation and okay, well, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. No, we're going to have to do both ends. We're going to have conversations with each other about these various things within our community. It's imperative that we have these conversations. It's imperative that we talk about this in our homes. It's imperative that we talk about this in our different groups, in our organizations. It's imperative because we need all of us. We need all of us. We don't just need some of us. We need all of us. Okay, I think that is all of my announcements. So we're going to get back to our topic of today. And we're going to remind you about IMANI, faith. Faith is to believe with all of our hearts in our people. It didn't say some of our people, it says in our people. And the righteousness and victory of our struggle. Because I will assure you that all of us struggle. It wasn't just some of us, but all of us struggle. Another thing I like to talk about as someone who's been in civil rights for a number of decades is that when I fight for Black people, I fight for Black people. Therefore, I recognize that when I fight for Black people, there are Black children in these Black people. I know that. I understand that. I understand that there are Black infants in these Black people. I also understand there are unborn in these Black people, and there are women, and there are men, and there are straight men, and there are gay men. Okay? So I understand that. And so, therefore, when I fight for our people. And I have never felt that I had to identify them one by one, because when I fight and I open doors, everybody goes through the doors. Even those who are not Black walk through those doors. Can I say that again? Even those who are not Black walk through those doors. Because I understand that when I fight for justice, when I fight for what is right, and doors of justice open up, I don't put a lock and say, that's enough justice. I got enough people through the justice door. So those folks, they can't come through the justice door. Only those that look like me or what have you can come through the justice door. No, when I fight for Black people, but I recognize that others can come through that justice door as well. Are we clear?
No.
Are we clear? Okay, so again, I'm going to get back to our topic. Straight up, straight Black men and Black men matters. This conversation today is dedicated to our straight Black men, because they may not be a part of some of these other groups and organizations that seem to be at the top of the list when it comes to addressing issues. And so I wanted to make sure that our men understood that you are not forgotten. You are not forgotten. It may sometimes feel like you are, but sometimes, as I shared last week, you sometimes have to put in a little bit more work. A lot of times we want someone else to do the work, and then we want to just kind of slide in and slither in. But no, you're going to have to do some of the work yourself. It can't be just one person or one group or one organization. We all have to roll up our sleeves. We all have to get in the game. And there's another thing that you also have to remember, that sometimes when things are tough and you're going through some challenges, you're growing, you're being prepared. That gives you more strength. So keep in mind that it's not just a simple, I don't think I'm being heard, or I don't think that I'm getting the same opportunities. Sometimes Those things occur because it's to strengthen you, it's to build you up, it's to make you stronger. Okay, now that we've gone past the announcements and we're back to the show again, and we're back to today's topic, just want to remind you, to our Black men, it is critically important that Black men do their part as well. Having messages like, I'm not going to vote for her or him just because he or she is Black, while you're in the barbershops, that is not a helpful message. You say, well, why? Why isn't it? Because whatever party you are a member of, did you bring a candidate to that party, or did the party bring a candidate to you? Did you? Did you bring them a candidate, or did they bring you a candidate? At any point in time when they brought you a candidate, did you ever say, I'm not going to vote for him or her because of the color of their skin? In all your years, did you ever? So see, you're going to have to do some work. Did you question their race? Did you question their color? Did you question their creed? Or did you simply vote for them just because your party asked you to support them? So to our Black men in the barbershop, I love you. I love you dearly. But we need you to show the same passion when the party brings you a candidate that don't look nothing like you. We need you to show that same passion for the candidates that look like you. Because you've been falling a little short in that area. So if anybody knows anything about me, I compliment you, but I sometimes discipline you too. Because that's kind of what I do. Okay, so we need you to show that passion for whoever is running for office. And keep in mind, we always have to be twice as good as anyone else on the playing field. So to suggest that when someone looks like us, that they're somehow not as qualified, I think we saw very clearly when Simone Biles did her routines and picked up 5 gold medals, that is not the case. We are more than qualified, and in most instances, over qualified. So you say, well, why vote for a Kamala Harris, or why did we vote for Barack Obama? I will assure you that many of us did not vote just because they were Black, okay? We have a tendency to vote on 4 things. That's our passion, that's our compassion, we vote on competence, and we vote on character. Am I right, Henderson?
No question. If they're trying to vote for the other guy.
Hello. So don't come here and say, well, Black men, straight Black men, I need you to go into the barbershop with the homework done. So when you hear people say things that are not true, it's important that you challenge those things. It's important that you stand up for our people. And if we do fall short, then you have every right to chastise, but it doesn't mean you must marginalize, denigrate, or disrespect. That's not what we need from you. We need you to be strong, and we need you to help our community to be strong. We need you to do your research and bring it back to those who may not be able to do what you can do. So we need something from you when you are in those barbershops and the beauty salons. We need you to enjoy your conversation about sports, family, and faith, but fact check politics. Do not run around repeating what someone else said. because that's a danger to us when you do that. You cannot repeat what the enemy feeds to you because it's poison, and it kills you and it kills the community too. And while flippant one-liners and cute taglines may sound kind of funny, if you don't correct them, they can have lasting effects that are detrimental. Shall I say that again?
Oh, yeah.
Cute taglines and flippant one-liners may appear to be funny, but in the long term, they can be detrimental to you, to our community, our children, and our future. So we need you to be careful when repeating incorrect information. We need you to be careful because, see, you're the backbone of the community. We're relying on you. We're relying on you to be able to be strong and stand tall. So again, we support you. We 100% support you. As a matter of fact, we have your back.
Right.
And we didn't just start having your back. We've had your back for decades, for years. It is now getting close to me closing out the show. So I'm going to close out the show, reminding us today's show again. I'm Georgia Allen with GA for Just Is, because just is the right time to get the right information out there to our people to ensure and that we are on the right side of history. Okay? We need to be on the right side of history, because this stuff that's coming down the pipe, the 2025 project, all of those things can be extremely detrimental to us, but even worse to our next generations that we may not even see grow up to adulthood. So we want to caution you every time you hear someone say something negative about folks that come from our community. We want to caution you. If they say it, tell them to prove it. And if they give you a clip, tell them you want the whole thing, so you can know what the context was behind that little sound bite that they gave you. When people come into our community and say something about our people, again, Black men, we need you to fact check it. Don't take them at their word, okay? Do not take them as their word. So as we come to a close, as I share with you, 3 things that we have to be cautious of. Misinformation. You say, well, what is misinformation? Misinformation is false, but not necessarily created or shared with the intention of causing harm. But it could cause harm because someone may repeat that misinformation, and now it turns almost into a cancer because it's being repeated. And so more and more people are hearing it, and more people begin to believe it. Disinformation is deliberately created to mislead, to harm, or manipulate a person, social group, organization, or even an entire nation. So it's deliberate. So when you find yourself hearing information that's being passed to you, Black straight men, I need you to help us out here. I need you to call it out. Okay? We support you, but we need you to support us. Then there's this malinformation. It's based on fact, but most of the time is used out of context to mislead, to harm, or to manipulate. Now we see that a lot in politics. See it a whole lot in politics, because in politics, all they do is throw out something and they see if it catches on. Many times they knew from jump that it wasn't true. In most instances, and you see it a lot with a certain orange person, he'll say, so and so is a crook, so and so is a criminal. And most of the time, he says that because he knows that he himself has been found guilty of 34 felony counts. So he needs to pass that off to someone else. So therefore, he will throw things out there that is deliberately put out there to mislead, to manipulate, to harm. So I should have said he does the disinformation a lot, not the mal information, because he don't do most things he doesn't do based on fact at all. So finally, there are a lot of straight Black men out here. And what I want you to know, it makes your group we the people. It makes your group we the people. So one, as straight Black men, you are people. Two, you have power. We need you to leverage that power. And three, if you want to have progress, so there's people, there's power, and there's progress. If you want to have progress, you're going to have to make your own progress from time to time, utilizing the tools that are in the toolbox. Some of them come from the government, some of them come from the local community, some come within your own sphere of influence. And so, with that being said, I hope this was helpful. I hope you guys know that we do support you. We are passionate about supporting Black straight men. We are passionate when it comes to Black men matter. We know that you matter. You matter to us. And I'm going to close with a few lyrics today, because as I'm looking at what's taking place, I want to do something a little different. So I'm going to use a few lyrics from Beyonce's song Freedom. And then there's a song called Ella's Song. And the lyrics and music was done by Bernice Johnson Reagan, who just passed away last month. So first, I'm going to do some lyrics from Beyonce. Freedom, freedom, I can't move. Freedom cut me loose. Singing freedom, freedom, where are you? Because I need freedom too. I break chains all by myself, won't let my freedom rot in hell. Hey, I'ma keep running, because a winner don't quit on themselves. So to my Black man, of course, that is candidate for president of the United States, one of candidate Harris's, Kamala Harris songs. A winner don't quit on themselves. So I want you guys to recognize that you are important, that people love you, we care about you, we see you, we do see you, we believe in you. Okay, so I don't want you to go around thinking that we're not listening to you, that we don't hear you. We know that you're patriotic. We know that about our Black men. We know that you are family men. We know that about you. Okay, and I'll tell you again, keep on running, because a winner don't quit on themselves. I love that in that song.
Yeah.
And then Ella's song, the lyrics and music by Bernice Johnson Reagan. Again, she just recently passed. She passed last week. Not last week, I'm sorry. She was born October the 4th, 1942, and she passed away July the 16th, 2024. And she was a freedom fighter. She was the founder of the Freedom Singers. And I love this. This song was Sweet Honey in the Rock, sung by Sweet Honey in the Rock and many others. And I love the lyrics. And I want you to listen to these real carefully because it really takes you back to before this century that we're in now, of course. It takes you back into the 20th century, but the words remind you of things that even happened in the 19th and 18th century. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. Until the killing of Black men, Black mother's son, is as important as the killing of white men, white mother's son. That which touches me most is that I had a chance to work with people passing on to others that which was passed on to me. To me, young people come first. They have the courage where we fail. And if I can but shed some light as they carry us through the gale. The older I get, the better I know that the secret of my going on is when the reins are in the hands of the young who dare to run against the storm. Not needing to clutch for power, not needing the light just to shine on me. I need to be one in the number as we stand against tyranny. Does that sound familiar about what's going on in today's time? Struggling myself don't mean a whole lot. I've come to realize that teaching others to stand up and fight is the only way my struggle survives. I'm a woman who speaks in a voice and I must be heard. At times I can be quite difficult. And if you know me, I can be. I'll bow to no man's word. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. And I wanted to use those two songs because if you listen when candidate Harris goes out on the stage, she plays parts of both of those songs. She says, I'm going to keep running because a winner don't quit on himself. And she also plays, we who believe in freedom cannot rest. And as a prosecutor, she understands the fight for freedom. She understands when people come into the courtroom and are accused of something that they have not done. She understands that unless you believe in freedom, unless you will fight for freedom, it's impossible to really rest. And so I've been out here a long time fighting. So as we come to the end of today's show, to all the Black men, yes, you matter. We hear you. We daily fight for you. When you believe we are not listening, we are listening to you because we, yes, we believe in freedom. And until it comes, we cannot rest. We will not rest, and we must not rest. This is Georgia F. Allen with GA for Justice. It is Thursday, and I'm signing off.
All righty then. Great topic. And of course, as always, you bring it to them straight from the hip. So I want to let people know to share this information with other people on your social media platform, as well as your next door neighbor and family and friends. GA for Justice is every Thursday from 12 until 1. And don't forget to check in and enjoy. And if you always have a comment, you always allowed to express your views on this show. But remember, until next time, this is GA for Justice on WVDM Bond Digital Media Radio. We'll be watching and hoping that you join us next week. Until then, bye-bye.